It's crazy to think that after 2024, the Nintendo Switch is basically over. Sure, we know of a couple games releasing 2025 that are kinda notable releases, but outside of that handful, it's safe to assume that Nintendo will be primarily focusing on the Switch's success for most of 2025. With 2024 being the last year fully dedicated to the Switch, we didn't get as many big releases as previous years, but Nintendo still released a good amount of games during the year regardless. Now, which 2024 Nintendo game was the worst, and which was the best? Today, I'll be ranking every 2024 Nintendo Switch game from worst to best to answer this question. I'm the biggest noob on YouTube, Christendo, and if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel as it helps me out a ton. While you're at it, if you want to talk to me and other fans about all things Nintendo, consider joining the ChrisCore Discord server. The link is down in the description. With that all out of the way, let's get her ranked. Starting out our list of the worst game Nintendo released in 2024, we have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD at number 12. With this placement, it's not really about the game being particularly bad, but more so it being lazy and a cash grab. I already covered this in more depth in my video going over the best and worst games every year of the Switch, so I'll keep it brief. Luigi's Mansion 2 at its core is a fine game. It's the weakest of the Luigi's Mansion trilogy, but it's still a decent enough game. This version of it, while objectively being the best version of the game, is just such a letdown. It's basically just the 3DS version copied over to the Switch with some assets upscaled to make it look a bit better, and that's about it. Then the fact that this game is $60, where when it released on the 3DS it was $40, is also baffling. There was no added content to the game, it's literally just the exact same as it was on the 3DS and cost $20 more. Everything about this game just annoys me. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I had like no effort put into it, and it being $60 I wouldn't really care, but these factors alone make me completely irritated by this game's presence, and because of that, it's the worst game released in 2024. From one remaster to another, we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong at number 11. This one suffers from a similar issue to Luigi's Mansion 2 HD where I feel it's overpriced, especially as this is a Game Boy Advance game at its core, but at least this one has some good things going for it. First, it costs $50 rather than the $60 Luigi's Mansion 2 HD cost, making the price of this a bit more tolerable of a purchase than the previous game. It's also a ground-up remake of Mario vs. Donkey Kong from the GBA, where they added some CG cutscenes, made some tweaks to the game, and even added new content with a few more worlds in the game. I personally was never super into the Mario vs. DK series, so I honestly had no desire for the game, which is why I put it so high on the list, but at least there was some effort and care put into this, which is why it has the edge over last place. Continuing the trend of games I really didn't have much care for is number 10, Fitness Boxing 3, Your Personal Trainer. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's another fitness boxing game, so what you see is what you get. From what I've seen, this is apparently the best of the fitness boxing games, but personally, the series has never really interested me. However, I can see this being used as a fun workout game you can play on your Switch if you want to use it for that, and because of that, I think it kind of has an edge over the last two games, especially since it's a new game rather than just a remaster or remake. Number 9 goes to yet another game I have little interest in, Princess Peach Showtime. Don't get me wrong, it's cool to see Peach finally get her own game as it's been since Super Princess Peach on the DS, but something about this one just has me not really caring for it. The concept of the game taking place on a stage and like every level being a different genre of game is a pretty cool one, but I feel the execution is kind of lacking. Nothing about any of the stages really wowed me, but then again, I wasn't the targeted demographic for this game. This game isn't bad though. Again, since I wasn't the target audience, this game wasn't really for me, but for those interested in the game, I feel like they'd have a good time with it. Up next, we have Endless Ocean Numinous at number 8. Coming from a series that hasn't received a game since the Wii, I was honestly surprised to see the Endless Ocean series make a return this late into the Switch. As for the game itself, it's pretty alright. If you want a game to just chill out and relax with, this is the game for you. With a seemingly endless ocean to explore, this is a good game to vibe with. The game does feel kind of empty at points, however, where it feels like there isn't much to see, which kind of holds this one back from being truly great. It's a nice return to the Endless Ocean series at the end of the day though. While there are flaws to the game, it's nice to see the series return when it seemed like it was gone forever. 2024 seems to have been the year of revivals, as at number 7 we have Another Code Recollection. This remake takes the two games of the Another Code series and remakes them from the ground up into a pretty good game collection. The gameplay is that of a puzzle adventure game, and there's a good variety in its puzzles. The atmosphere of the game is pretty good as well. The art style is reminiscent of a comic book kind of look, and I'm honestly all for it. However, the story here isn't the greatest thing ever, but with that said, this game has some pretty good charm and is a worthy remake collection to be added to the Switch library. Just shy of the top 5 is Nintendo World Championship NES Edition at number 6. This game is made up of challenges from across a handful of NES titles. I guess you could kind of look at this as an extension to the NES Remix series on the Wii U and 3DS, but instead of challenges being remixes of NES games, they're speedrunning based where you want to try to get the best time in said challenges to get a good rank. This works well for this game as in most cases, NES games are a lot of fun to speedrun, and even if it's not speedrunning a whole game, the little speedrun challenges in here are pretty fun. At the end of the day though, this game does just consist of NES games, so it's not as game changing as a new release in modern day, but thanks to a lower price of $30, this game is a lot more affordable, and you can pick it up at any time to do a challenge and then continue on with your day. Starting off the top 5 is Emiyo the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club. This was the first new game to be released for the Famicom Detective Club series in over 30 years, and they didn't hold back with this one. While the game plays like a visual novel, you'll be interacting with the game at points as you play detective to solve the case of a murdered student. The characters are written pretty well in Emiyo, and the story as well is great. If you're a fan of visual novel types of games and want a great one to dive into, Emiyo the Smiling Man is a good one to do so with. And while I myself am not a visual novel kind of guy, I can help but appreciate that Nintendo revived the Famicom Detective Club series and made a great game to continue the franchise. At number 4, we had The Legend of Zelda Echoes of of Wisdom. Echoes of Wisdom has the same art style as the Link's Awakening remake back in 2019, and I gotta say, while it would have been nice to have a different visual style, this one looks great, so I'm not complaining. This was also the first 2D Zelda, actually Zelda game in general, to have you playing as Princess Zelda herself, which was honestly such a breath of fresh air for the series. In the game, Zelda's moveset revolves around using echoes, which are basically replicated copies of objects you encounter on your journey. This leads to the game having a completely different approach in gameplay compared to previous 2D Zelda games, and allows you to solve puzzles in many different ways. Overall, this game was a blast through and through. It was unique, charming, and all around just a great game. In our second runner-up, we have Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door taking number 3. We all know this game is great. The best Paper Mario and one of the best Mario RPGs, so it should come to no surprise that this game is so close to the top of the list. The game looks visually stunning on the Switch. Environments look beautiful with a very atmospheric soundtrack that remixes the original, and there's also the ability to listen to the original in-game if you preferred. Problems with the original as well were fixed in this remaster. No longer do you have to spend a lot of time to backtrack, as now there's pipes you can use to take you to the many locations in the different chapters. It comes to no surprise that this is Paper Mario at its peak. With great characters, amazing combat, and a great story, I'm happy Nintendo brought back this classic GameCube game to be experienced by a modern audience, and I hope Nintendo uses this as a reference for the Paper Mario series going forward. Just shy of first place, we have Mario & Luigi Brothership at number 2. I've already made a video going over my thoughts on the game, so I'm going to keep this brief. I really enjoyed this game. It has some problems, such as slow load times, frame stutters, and a slow beginning, but once you get past all that, this is one hell of a great game. I was invested with this game all the way through, I never wanted to put it down when I was playing, and I enjoyed it so much I was able to beat it in the week after it came out. To say I like this game is an understatement. While it may not live up to the highs of Bowser's Inside Story, this game is still up there as one of the best Mario RPGs. That may be my Mario & Luigi bias speaking, as I enjoyed these games more than the Paper Mario series, but Brothership is such a worthy inclusion to the series, and is in my opinion the best Mario RPG on the Switch. And the best game released for the Nintendo Switch in 2024 is Super Mario Party Jamboree. Silly naming aside, this has to be one of, if not the best Mario Party to date. With there being 7 boards, 2 old and new, most of which are fun to play, an insane number of minigames that are all a blast to play, and some side modes that, while not as good as the main party mode, are still a fun time, this is the most packed Mario Party game to date. Sure, I do have some problems with the game here and there. Some of the boards aren't as great as I hoped for, as an example, but all around, this game is such a great time no matter when I play it. It's wacky, it's fun, and most important, it's Mario Party. Just thanks to the fun factor alone and how great of a Mario Party this is, Super Mario Party Jamboree is the best Nintendo Switch game released in 2024. And that's my ranking of every Nintendo Switch game released in 2024. Are you mad that I did mention Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports even though that was the game of the year? Let me know my opinions suck down in the comments, and while you're down there, tell me your favorite and least favorite games Nintendo released in 2024, as I would love to see your picks. It's so surreal that the Switch is almost done after 8 years on the market, and because of this, I kinda want to take a trip through the past and possibly rank the games released every year of the Switch's life. If you're interested in this, please let me know. With that said, that's it for this one, but if you want to see another video made by me, there's a video on screen now where I rank all the Nintendo Switch games releasing in 2025 based on how excited I am for them, and I think you'll enjoy it. With that said, I'm the biggest noob on YouTube, Christendo, signing off, and goodbye, Nub Nation.